I'm Janelle Erickson.
Jen Stoltnow?
I first saw touch in, I believe it was 1986, in Mrs. Wilson's kindergarten class at Woodbury Elementary. And that was the first time I saw it, and I remember it very clearly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed. I went to Woodbury Elementary School and saw it in 1986 as well, fall of 1986. So I remember we would watch it every November. The letter would come out, and then as we got older, there was like this buzz about, oh, we're going to watch Touch again. You know, like once you're in second grade, you've now seen it 2 years prior. And then there would be the showing, the filming, the airing of the video, and then there was always discussion afterwards.
Yep.
I remember there being like a buzz or anticipation of what we were going to see, and then we would watch it, and the lights would go off. We would watch it, and I remember, and I can't remember the kid's name next to me, but I remember watching it, and people. I mean, it's elementary school, so oftentimes people were, talking and messing around and stuff. But this film, for obviously reasons, people were just very captivated by it, and I remember at the end of it, once looking over and just seeing. Everyone was like, hands, like this, like almost like they were almost peering, like trying to get into the television to watch because they were so focused on the content. It was, I think, during a time where that was the first time I had ever heard of that type of activity happening, or that it could happen. And so I think for a lot of kids, it was sort of this wake up of, listen, you can't trust everyone, and maybe it was the first dialogue that they had heard of that. Maybe they hadn't received that from their parents by that time or something like that. So I feel like it was sort of, for many kids, probably like the first time that they're being open to that thought. And it obviously was something that caught their attention.
Absolutely, it was the first time that mm-hmm. I ever thought about that or knew that happened at all. My parents are, progressive. My mom worked in the school district too, but it was a general don't go somewhere with a stranger, and that's pretty much it. But no, nothing else really.
Mm-hmm. The reference of certain scenes within Touch, kind of, being, into your memory, sort of burning your memory of just relaying that right away.
Isn't she cute? She's growing
Look at this
fast.
I know. Before you know it, she'll be in junior high school.
The scene of the uncle or grandpa character. That to me, I think, was the most compelling because you'd heard, like, similar to what Janelle had said, you'd heard about strangers, don't go with a stranger, you might get taken away, that kind of thing. But the concept of someone whom you love or as part of your family doing something that's not appropriate to you as a child was, for me that was like very mind-blowing. Like, wait a minute, could that be so, could someone do that? And all of a sudden you start thinking through like, okay, I felt very fortunate. I didn't personally have that situation, but you think about all the kids that maybe, hopefully that was the first time that they acknowledged, listen, this isn't right. So I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And with my 4-year-old, they both go to a daycare learning center, and they've talked about strangers. And I actually found myself relaying some of the messages. This is probably about 6 months ago, messages to him when he turned 4, because around 4 I think you start being more aware of those around you and that kind of thing. And I started talking about and saying things like, if someone were to ever touch you in a way you don't think is appropriate, you scream and run away. And I said that could be anybody. I said, the only people you should be, sort of comfortable with is, your mom and your dad and, doctors. Like, they're the only ones who should be, doing that sort of thing. And, we've talked about that probably twice, just trying to start cementing that. But it was, again, that first message, I never received that when I was his age from my parents. It was honestly rooted in seeing that movie. So I feel like I'm sort of passing that along.
Mary Sue, how did you feel about what happened?
I was confused. I felt frozen.
How'd you feel about your grandfather?
That's what was so hard. I liked my grandfather, and I liked being tickled by him, but I didn't like it when the touch changed.
So you like it when he tickled you, but you didn't like the way the touch changed. Did you think you could tell anyone?
No, I thought that if something was wrong, someone in the room would say something. But since no one did, I thought it was my fault. Besides, my grandfather had said that it was our little secret, and that I better not tell anybody about it.
What did happen?
The grandfather touched her where she didn't want him to. She felt trapped. He changed from one kind of touch to another kind of touch.
Had Mary Sue done anything wrong?
No.
What could she have done?
Told her parents.
Okay.
She could have said stop. She could have said, I don't like that. She could have gave her grandfather a signal that she didn't like what he was doing to her.
What might make it hard for her to talk about that?
If she told her parents, they might get mad at her because she let him do that. Because she liked her grandfather a lot and she didn't want him to get in any trouble. He told her to keep it a secret.
Who could she have talked to?
Her parents, her uncle, her teacher, her sister. She could have talked to her friends.
Good answers.
As I've gotten older, I just realizing how groundbreaking that was to have that so young and have it done in such a respectful way was really extraordinary. And I, as a result of that, I'm a big advocate of a lot of education in this area. Nice work on putting together a really groundbreaking piece that I bet helped thousands and thousands of kids make some positive changes in their life if they needed to, because that's, I'm sure, a scary thing to deal with.
I think that the film probably opened up more people's eyes, and they're still, as I am, remembering scenes and that input today and then trying to translate that. You know, I'm now in my mid-30s and talking to my children about that. So I just believe that we should continue to have that type of dialogue in the schools, because you can't rely on parents and families to have that dialogue, because, you know, unless they're trained or given the right key messages, they may never cover it. So I think the school is kind of a nice level setting ground of saying, this is a topic we all need to discuss, doing it very respectfully, and then letting individual families kind of talk about it, you know, one-on-one, you know, after the education's done.
Remember, you have the right to decide what kind of touch you don't like and what kind of touch feels good. Because there's nothing in the world like a touch that feels good.